Alrighty, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to my channel. This channel is of educational provenance, and we try to hook you up with information about uh, great theories, concepts, and discoveries that you might not have ever heard about because they've been suppressed. Crucial information that would help you with your quest for better spiritual, mental, and physical health. This segment is called The Q-Tip of the Spear, and I cover, or I look at those who cover the info war, the uh, battle between the globalists and the patriots, global civil war or worldwide civil war, that the patriots have won. That's what I would say. Um, now, it's, it's, you know, uh, not been disclosed yet. People don't know what's really happened uh, because the events are dripping out just a little bit at a time for the purposes of uh, consumption, popular consumption. And so a lot of the events that have happened years ago are being shown to us now as if they are currently relevant. And, you know, uh, I'd say it's best to tune out on that, not really to pay too much attention to it, and certainly do not get emotionally invested in that. At the same time, uh, I think it would be very appropriate for the Patriots to work on their own personal red pilling. That is what the Achilles heel of this movement is that the people that are in it have done the digging as far as digging up the InfoWar stuff, the conspiracies and the false flags and the psyops, but they haven't applied it to their own lives. And so they have values and uh, belief systems and heroes and holidays that are infested with deep state propaganda. They haven't recognized that the psyops go all the way back. You know, you roll up one psyop and there's another one right behind it. Um, you know, this is particularly true of the religious books and the religious belief systems. Christianity, in particular, was a psychological operation written by the Romans, the Caesars of the Flavian dynasty of Caesars in the late first century. And they composed the New Testament as a psychological operation against the Jews, who had been a big pain, thorn in the side of the Romans for over 100 years, and fought a war against the Romans that lasted for 7 years, ending in 73 AD. And the emperors who were veterans of that war had a vested interest in making sure that it didn't happen again. So they made up a story of a character named Jesus who was a Jewish Messiah, who was a Prince of Peace instead of being a military Messiah, and one who believed in rendering unto Caesar what is Caesar's and walking the extra mile and turning the other cheek and castigating the Jews by overturning the tables of the money changers and um, yelling and screaming at uh, the merchants selling small animals for the sacrifice at the temple, calling the Pharisees a generation of vipers, and so on. And then uh, Paul is even more um, deferential to the Romans and critical of the Jews than Jesus was. Uh, this is what um, this movement is going to have to uh, get real about, because right now you're living in a fantasy world with this Christianity, with this great awakening, and your Western values that are deep state propaganda. Christopher Columbus, you're telling me that he's one of your heroes. Um, pure cabal. And, the Western, most of the inventions are handed to us from the giant extraterrestrials who, created us here in the first place. And that doesn't mean that there's no God, just means that we were like not directly, created by God, but or indirectly. Um, but, all of the raw materials were, you know. So that's what I would say is that there is a God, however you want to look at it, nature, the creator, the all, the universe. Um, and that's what we need to move forward on, but not Christianity, what you would call deism. Many of the founding fathers of this country were deists. And that is the idea that there is one God who is good and who has, given beings uh, higher intelligence, reason, intuition, inspiration, conscience, higher values that enable the, uh, uh, in our case, the human to behold God's creation and to understand God directly through our faculties. So, this direct understanding of God does not require books, and it does not require priests, pastors, or popes. It's direct, and that is the sign of this age. That is the battle that we really have to fight to be able to have be responsible for our own belief systems. And until now, and right now, we tend to just be obedient. Um, that's what I see as, again, the Achilles heel of this movement. As soon as the word Jesus Christ is mentioned, soon as the Bible is mentioned, everybody gets into deference mode. Like this is something that we can't criticize. This is something that we can't scrutinize. This is something that we can't dig on. We can dig into the Bible, but we can't dig into the context surrounding it. Who wrote it and why? And who are all these other characters that are being mentioned here? And what is this really all about? These questions, um, you know, many of the people in this movement feel like even asking those questions is like that means that you're the Antichrist, or that means that you're possessed by Satan. And those kind of dismissals are are fatal to this movement, and they will lead to a rerunning of history, like the Salem witch trials. Um, so what I'm saying is that this movement is filled with zealots who are um, just waiting until they get into power to abuse it. They don't know that they're going to abuse it, but they're so zealous that they just won't be able to help themselves when it gets around to it. And there are other people in the movement who are not so zealous, and they need to really restrain these other people by red pilling themselves and getting real with what's going on and seeing the bigger picture. And look at the bigger picture also is that the commander in chief and the 17th letter, they know what the score is. They know who wrote the New Testament. They're waiting for you to tell them, to call them on it. Until then, they're going to pander to you. So that's where we're at. I sound like a broken record, I'm sure, but somebody's got to listen first. Otherwise the record's just going to keep playing. Um, like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute, share, and send it to your favorite patriot. Thanks for tuning in today, and we'll catch you next time on the Q-tip of the spear. Have a great day.